Well, good evening everyone and welcome to Inside Line Racing. My name is Alex Lilliart, bringing you live and uninterrupted coverage of both the qualifying and the race session here from the Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai International Circuit for round 3 of season 6. Started the broadcast a couple of minutes late because I did join at the beginning of qualifying, then had that wonderful no sound glitch that we sometimes get, so I had to leave a lobby and come back. But as you can see, we can hear the engine notes now. Truesdale coming in provisional pole with 32.481. We're looking at Francis McGinn here, his teammate, just coming down the back straight of his 16 corner high speed thrill ride with the long and ever tightening right hander at turns 1 and 2, testing a driver's patience before they get on the throttle. Overtaking as possible into turn 1 and down that very long 1 kilometre back straight into the heavy braking zone for the hairpin. Look out for moves as well into turn 4 as the entry approach opens up for the drivers to attempt a possible overtake. We have the soft, medium and hard tyres here, of course. Now, a bit unsure about what they'll be doing strategy wise. I think it'll probably be the softs, hards or probably mediums onto the hards. A lot of these drivers have been testing already in multiple online qualifying sessions leading up to this event, and quite a few of them have been posting some incredibly quick medium times. We're talking some lap times in I think the 1:30 30s, which is pretty impressive on the medium tyres. So Truesdale currently on provisional pole at the moment. His teammate Francis McGinn just a couple of hundredths off. Aaron Collingwood, a reserve driver, he is in the Renault tonight, and we have 2 other reserve drivers as well. So Aaron Collingwood is in the Renault replacing Cliffy. Sparks in 4th place in Red Bull at the moment is replacing Kornhoff, and we are supposed to have NSX Dusty who's replacing Paris in the 2nd Renault, but he has failed to show up so far. So we just have the 19 drivers. We also are weighing at the bottom of that at the moment, but he's yet to set a lap time, and a lot of heavy traffic here coming down to that hairpin. Don't know if he's on a quick lap or if he's on just a sighter. We'll bring up the lap data. No, he is on an out lap, so hopefully some of these cars get out of the way. In fact, most of them coming back in the pits then, so some of these guys then on the soft tyres just going out and getting a sighter lap nice and early. I'll be expecting most of these guys to be going on to the mediums I think before the end of the session. So that's the reserve drivers and who we have tonight. As for penalties, nothing has been carried over from Bahrain. The only sort of question mark there was Speed Barry, who had a 5-second unserved stop go, or a 5-second time penalty added to his time at the end of the race, and he contacted the stewards team and said, I did nothing wrong, so I'm not too sure what all that's about. They looked at all of his lap times and they said, yep, where you finished on track is where you should have been. Ignore the penalty. Maybe it had something to do with the fact he disconnected from the session. But talking about Speed Barry, he's moved up into provisional pole on a 32.347 on those hard tyres. So the drivers and the constructors standings then. Truesdale currently leads away on 40 points. ILRT Rafa in 2nd on 36. And then it's Louis, who missed out last week, but he's here this week. He's on 3rd on 25. Liam Yo in 4th on 23, and It's Me in the Racing Point in 5th on 16. As for the constructors, Alfa Romeo lead away at this early stage on 48 points. Toro Rosso in 2nd on 40. Mercedes 33. Red Bull 23. Williams on 18. And Liam Yo then, who was on the podium last week, coming out on circuit on the medium tyres, just coming down the back straight. There's a car to the right hand side there, I think is politely going to move out of his way. We've got a few other drivers as well on outlaps on these medium tyres. 16 people watching at the moment. Hopefully the numbers go up. Good evening to each and every single one of you. And hopefully we'll have a very entertaining race tonight then. So ILRT Rafa, he's just coming across the line now. We might as well jump on board with the Alfa Romeo driver as he takes us through a lap of Shanghai into turn 1 and turn 2. Ever tightening, you're sort of balancing the brake and the throttle as well, and the steering, trying to get the best line in there. Little puff of smoke there going through 2. Coming out of it now on this little back straight here. Up through turn 3, just dink to the right hand side, back over to the left. Heavy braking for turn 4. There'll be overtakes of plenty going into this corner I think tonight. Out of it as well. Now we're into sector 2. A lot of left rights, a lot of directional changes. High downforce is needed through here, but at the same time you need low downforce for the main straights if you want to make any overtakes in the race. Nice and smooth at the moment from the Alfa Romeo driver into the double left hander now. And again, you want to stay off of that exit curb as much as you can. The car comes a little bit unbalanced. Another little short burst down to the left right here, coming into sector 3. And again, the car will understeer quite a lot through here, and then as you come out of this corner it will start to oversteer as well. You want to stay on the inside curve, then drag the car naturally wide, picking up a toe here off of his teammate VSR Wayne. Don't know if this is planned or not, but ILRT Rafa is going to be gaining time all the time down this very long straight. Wayne does pull out the way to allow him enough space there to break into the hairpin. Truesdale just ahead of him as well. Another puff of smoke from the front right. Will Truesdale move out the way? I think he's on an outlap himself, so I don't think he will. Oh, and he has, and he's absolutely braked right in front. What has happened here? That is something that we really do not want to see. I don't know if Truesdale had paused his game or something, or if there was a bit of lag involved there between the two cars, but Truesdale's pretty much just broke on the racing line there for the final corner, and it's completely ruined Rafa's lap. He's got damage on that front wing as well. They've set Truesdale up for a bad start to his first lap as well, so that's not what we want to see, unfortunately. Rafa and Truesdale first and second in the championship, coming to blows in qualifying. We've got a McLaren up ahead as well. I believe it's ILRT who's off the circuit. No, it's not. It would have been Lambo then. So yeah, I don't know what happened there between Truesdale and Rafa. Most of these guys are very polite with each other, it must be said. You do see these guys try and get out of each other's way, and Lambo has retired from the session, so he's called it an early night in the qualifying session. So yeah, not too sure what happened between Truesdale and Rafa there. I'm sure that an instant and questions will be raised after this race, and poor old Rafa has got to somehow circulate that car back with a damaged front wing. He's lost a lot of time now in this qualifying session. Truesdale as well, you can see that he's 5.5 seconds down on his personal best, so this lap is completely ruined as well. But ILRT Liam Yoben currently on provisional pole for Red Bull. Louis up into second place. Par 18, we haven't spoke too much about him this season so far. He's currently in third place. Speed Barry on an outlap in fourth. Lambo we've lost from the session. I believe he's just parked up and retired. We've got yellow flags in sector 2 and 3. That'll just be for slow cars moving out the way. So Francis McGinn in 8th, Alan Collingwood in 9th, Sparks in 10th, Gonanan in 11th place as well. Lakitu, the rest of the field coming in then. So we've got another person. Aaron Collingwood then has just taken provisional pole in the Renault, and the reserve driver has put in a he had an average performance, I'd say, at Australia. Quite a lot of spins and contact with other drivers, and at Bahrain as well. It was a race he'd probably rather forget, just mixing out in the bottom half of the top 10 with a late spin as well. But hopefully he wants to start nailing down some competitive performances here as a reserve driver, and he's doing everything right at the moment with a provisional pole. ILRT Rafa, I believe, we're coming back in the pits to fix that damaged front wing. He will. ILRT Null at this time as well. I believe he's on a quick lap, but we'll come back to him. Sterling West currently last of the runners that have set a lap time on a 34.6. We've got It's Me down in 16th place as well. So a few other people coming in there. Flavsky Players has called Truesdale a muppet. CPI Lewis says he has no awareness of others, and Rafa basically got blocked there, as you can see there. And yeah, CPI Lewis saying Rafa completely being blocked by Truesdale. Yeah, I don't want to call it. If it could have been something else at play there, if Truesdale did literally just not look in his mirrors and slam on the brakes the best part of 50 yards before, you know, the braking zone for that final corner, then that is a bit naughty from his part. And I'm sure that the ILR stewards will have something to say about that, as it's getting a bit clustery down here at the long main straight, the back straight I should say, as some people are trying to get out of other people's ways. We've got 6.5 minutes left of this session, and we'll be seeing what the weather can do as well. I've been told as well that we've got a little bit of rain at the end of the qualifying session, and in fact you can see now actually just the rain bouncing off of the halo as I've dropped my phone on the floor. That's a bit silly of me. So yeah, we've now got a little bit of rain then coming in towards the end of the session. Everyone out there obviously already on those medium tyres, and that is going to be really, really bad news for ILRT Rafa and Truesdale. That instant they had a few minutes ago has completely ruined their qualifying. Truesdale is on a flying lap at the moment, but he has backed out, as you can see. He knows he's not going to be able to improve, and I think we're going to be seeing quite a lot of people retiring now. The rain has arrived, and at China, when it does rain pretty hard, pretty quickly. That track gets pretty much soaked within a minute or two. Poor ILRT Rafa is on an out lap. He's not going to get around and set a competitive time, especially on those hard tyres, and I do feel that this is then the grid that we will take into the race. And shock among shocks is Aaron Collingwood has taken pole position by 2 tenths ahead of Lakitu. VSR Wayne will be in third place. ILRT Liam Yo in fourth. Onyx in fifth. Blizzard in sixth. So both the Williams fifth and sixth. Speed Barry, Francis McGinn, ILRT Louis, and ILRT Yanul ninth and 10th. Louis is still going to go for it though. Gonanan has backed out of his lap. ILRT Rafa is still on his out lap, so he's definitely not going to be able to set a time. So ILRT Louis is going for it then on these medium tyres. He's got nothing to lose and everything to gain, but I do feel that this track is already quite weak. You can see how much that car is understeering through 1 and 2, and I think that he's going to be backing out of his lap pretty quickly. You can see that a majority of the field have have already retired from the and Louis backed out. So you can see there that pretty much that is the session over, which is going to make the last 4.5 minutes a bit boring. But we might as well look at ILRT Rafa. He's going to go for it on these hard tyres. But as you can see, Louis has already abandoned coming out of turn 2. And it's Louis Sterling West. Sterling West is coming out, though, I think, on the intermediate tyres, which will at least give us something to look at. And Rafa has spun the car on the exit of turn 2, probably for frustration more than anything else. And that will be the grid then you can see on the left-hand side. And you can see there CPI Lewis saying a blocking quali is a qualifying ban. So if that's the case, if the stewards do take that view, then Truesdale will have a qualifying ban for round 4 at Baku, which is a place you really do not want a qualifying ban. So we'll just watch Louis creep back into the pits. Sterling West is the only other driver that hasn't retired from the session. Ideally, I'd prefer to see, and Sterling West has now retired. So essentially this session will now end once Louis does retire, and hopefully he does. Hopefully he doesn't keep pounding round for the next 3.5 minutes, because there won't really be much to talk about. And I think he'll probably be back into the pits. He'll retire from the session, hopefully, and then that will be qualifying all wrapped up. Aaron Collingwood, a reserve driver for Renault tonight, has taken pole position. The Keto on the front row, VSR Wayne in 3rd, and our championship leaders Truesdale in 17th, ILRT Rafa in 19th after a collision in qualifying. Has seen a few people in the comments show their disgust at what Truesdale has done, but it'll be interesting to see both of them claw their way back through the field. So there we go, and Alan Collingwood on pole position by 2 tenths from Nikita. VSR Wayne in 3rd, ILRT Liam Yeo carrying on from his good performance at Bahrain, lining up in 4th in here. The Williams guys are together on row 3, VSR Onyx ahead of VSR Blizzard, and then it's Speed Barry, Francis McGinn, ILRT Louis and ILRT Inall rounding out the top 10. LR Gonanen, Lickle, It's Me, Sparks 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, Po 18 in 15th, VSR Lambo, Truesdale in 17th, Sterling West and ILRT Rafa, who failed to set a lap time. I'm going to take a very short break here. I'll be back with you guys during the formation lap. So here we are then on the formation lap. Aaron Collingwood taking him around quite slowly as well. You can see there the tyres on the left hand side. Even though we did have rain towards the end of the session, these guys start on the tyres or inside the top 10 anyway, that they set their best lap time on. You can see all on the medium tyres, apart from ILRT Louis on the hard tyres, so do watch out for him. I did put up in the chat predictions from anyone. CPI Lewis has said that Louis might win this race, or Louis to win. He's got a good bet, to be honest, starting on those hard tyres, and Aaron will cause a crash, which is a bit unfair on Aaron. He's at the front of the field. Give him a chance to at least enjoy life at the top of ILR1, at least at the start of this race. And it's me for a podium, says Corey F1 as well. He's all the way down in 13th place, also on those hard tyres. So we'll take a quick scan through the rest of the field. So Alan Aaron, I should say, we know is on pole position. The key to VSR Wayne, Liam Yeo, both the Williamses in 5th and 6th. Speed Barry, Francis McGee, Louis and Yanul is 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. We've got NSX Dusty has joined the session during qualifying. I might have missed it. He's down there in 20th place, obviously not taking part in qualifying. Just ahead of him then, you've got ILRT Rafa in 19th, Truesdale in 17th as well. We've got an absolute cascade of colours coming down that back straight. All the reds, the yellows, the whites, the blues, the greens, the silvers, the blacks. An absolutely fantastic sight is to see all the different and wild vivid colours on these cars for 2019. So Truesdale in 17th, our championship leader. ILRT Rafa in 19th, second place in the standings. Both of these two made contact. Well, I should say really Truesdale basically blocked Rafa coming into the final corner. Both of them made contact, ruined their fastest laps in qualifying and therefore ruined any chance of setting any lap because the rain came in soon after that as well. So we'll keep an eye on Truesdale and ILRT Rafa to see them move through the field, which I no doubt will be able to see. But as the field takes up their positions here for round 3 at China, it's Aaron Collingwood on the right, Lakitu on the left. All cars now taking up positions, and in a few seconds the 5 lights will come on and we'll be racing here in Shanghai. Dry conditions for it, I've been told. Hopefully it will stay that way. Mediums onto hards, hards onto mediums, I think will be the strategy. We've got 5 lights coming on now. Can Aaron hold on to this lead? 5 lights are out and away they go now. It's a good start, it looks like, from Aaron, just moving over to the left hand side to get himself a best run into turn 1. We've got Wayne and Lakita also coming through as well, side by side. Further back, Liam Yeo, Onyx and Blizzard all fighting as well into turn 1. Looks like they've kept it pretty clean for now, and Aaron has held on to that lead. Wayne has moved up to second place ahead of Lakitu, and we've got Onyx up the inside through 2 against Liam Yeo. Blizzard will try to follow his way through, but he's got to be careful because he's got other cars around him as well. Louis has made a good start up into 7th place. Yanul and Speed Barry up into 8th and 9th as well, as these guys duck and weave all down into turn 4. We'll have a look further back. We've got both the racing points very close together. Truesdale and Rafa have made real no progress so far as they funnel their way through 5 and 6, the left and the right. These cars will have to filter themselves back into line eventually. Bit of contact there between Speed Barry and Yanul. Yanul has the inside for the double left-hander and takes the 8th place just behind ILRT Louis. We've got Blizzard and Liam Yeo up ahead as well, but Aaron holds on to this lead then halfway around lap 1. As the rest of the cars in the background try to make moves in the midfield. All very dangerous, as you can see, with these guys trying to filter their way through. We've got Gonanen and Sparks side by side coming through the long right-hander. One of these will lose that, and you've got to be careful that they don't run wide over the curbs. And it's Gonanen that's just managed to keep that position, but Sparks is coming back at him here as they all come down this long back straight for the first of 28 times. You've got a Williams up ahead. That's Blizzard trying to move on Liam Yeo. These guys are almost 3 wide coming into their hairpin. They've got to get their braking right. The last thing we want to see is bits of carbon fibre fly off early on and force some of these guys into the pits. And Liam Yeo and Blizzard still battling coming into the final corner to complete lap 1, and it's Liam Yeo that keeps that 5th place for now, but Blizzard will try to get back at him. Oh, a little bit of contact there just unsettles Liam Yeo's Red Bull, but he still has the inside going into turn 1. That car might drift naturally a little wide, and here comes Louis as well. He's going to try and hang this round the outside, but Yanul is thinking, I want the position as well. These guys in the lower half of the top 10 really fighting it out early on, but Aaron still holds on to the lead at the end of lap 1 into 2. Wayne in second, Lakitu in third, and Louis then on board with him behind. Yanul is going to try this round the hard way into turn 4. Yanul all just tagging the back of Blizzard there as well, so these guys just making a few little love taps early on. I want to be careful they don't damage their front wing, and it looks like finally that all of these guys have managed to filter back into single file. And as for Truesdale and Rafa, no progress from either of the drivers. Truesdale is in fact defending from Sterling West over 17th, and Rafa will have the red mist about him as well. He's probably got his eyes pinned to the back of that Toro Rosso and say, if you're going to do what you did to me in qualifying, I'm going to make it my mission to beat you in this race. Dusty then, don't know if he's got a setup or not, but he's on the hard tyres, remains in 20th place for now, and it's Aaron Collingwood that leads the field away then. VSR Wayne still in second, Lakitu in third, Onyx behind. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3, so someone's being off the road, I feel. The positions aren't changing though, and we've got Louis going slowly, and what's that about? Louis going slowly, just allowing, I think, possibly his teammate through, because Louis on the hard tyres, doesn't want to hold up Speed Barry. And he did that nice and early, as you can see. So you can see the camera being absolutely munched there. Oh, and Speed Barry running wide through the final corner as well. He might pick up an ETL for that. DRS has now been enabled. 2 zones, main straight and back straight as well. And that will be the best opportunity for these guys to make up the overtakes as best as they can. in this race, but so far everyone pretty much playing follow the leader. Aaron holding on to that lead for now, and Liam Yeo is dropping back from the top 4. Blizzard, catching up as well. Speed Barry, we know, has now got past his teammates, so Louis remains in 9th place for now. As we bring up the position changes then, so ILRT and Sparks, the biggest movers, they've made up 3 positions so far. ILRT Lickle has lost 4, 2 positions down is Francis McGee and Gonanen down into 10th and 13th. But Aaron holds on to the lead, and for all that as well, Blizzard remains in 6th place. Wayne then is only half a second back, and he'll have DRS for the first time. The detection point is there. As we come through the long right-hander, can he do anything about Aaron ahead? Lakitu is over a second behind, so he will not have DRS. Coming up to the DRS line now, he's already gaining a little bit. Beat in the air, finger on the button, and the DRS is being opened, and he's gaining all the time, but Aaron won't need to defend into the hairpin. Wayne is too far back. Further back, Onyx is too far back as well. What's going on in the midfield? We've got I think that's Francis McGee and Sparks dicing it out over 10th place. Sparks just running wide. Francis McGee will retake that position and just chops across the front of It's Me there to prevent him from getting past as well. Meanwhile, Truesdale up into 16th. Rafa still stuck in that 19th place. There's only real 2, maybe 3 opportunities for these drivers to make overtakes. It's going to be difficult for these guys to carve their way through the field. Gonanen and PR18 very close in 13th and 14th, followed by Lambo in the McLaren, who retired early on in the qualifying session. There is Truesdale in 16th. Only gaining 1 position off the start. Lickle is falling further and further back. He's now lost 6 positions over his start. So we'll just bring up the tyres then, so we know what everyone is on. Dusty as well, he's had an incident somewhere because he's a long way back. But Aaron still leads then, 4.5 tenths ahead of VSR Wayne. Lakitu is also closing that gap in Onyx as well. Desperate for a podium this season. He's been close both in Australia and Bahrain. Australia had contact with Rafa with just a couple of laps to go whilst fighting over second. And in Bahrain, he had a 3-second time penalty. Won the race, but was demoted all the way down to 4th place. So close it was at the end with the top 4. So Onyx is desperate to get himself onto the podium tonight. He's in a good position to do so right now. He's focusing everything ahead. He doesn't have to worry about Liam Yeo behind because he's just a second back. And again, VSR Wayne with the DRS, like 4 of 28. He's not close enough to try anything. VSR Wayne isn't close enough either. I think Speed Barry might try something on Yanul, but Yanul has DRS as well. Be a late move if he thinks of it. Sparks and Francis McGee still going into battle here over 10th place, and it's bringing the rest of the midfield into it as well. So it's pretty much follow the car in front at the moment. Not much going on in these opening laps. A lot of the cars there, you can see the top 8 certainly on the same compound of tyres, the yellow walled mediums. Don't think we'll see the softs. Personally, I think it might be medium hard, especially as they are a qualifying set. Louis though, we'll keep an eye on Louis because he's let his teammate through a couple of laps ago. We saw into the hairpin, but he's staying with these guys as well, and he's got a healthy gap over Sparks behind, but that's because the Red Bull's been busy fighting with Francis McGee the last couple of laps. So Louis in a good position here. He's only about 8 seconds I think off of the lead at the moment, and if he can look after his hard tyres for as long as possible. And JPTV coming in saying credit where credit is due. We all thought Aaron would have lost the lead by now. Have a little faith in the reserve driver. He's doing a good job so far leading this race. We know he had a difficult Australia and Bahrain, but maybe sometimes he's better when he's out front with no one around him rather than trying to fight with cars around him. We know that Aaron can be a bit of a combative driver, puts his cars in positions he probably really shouldn't, which is why 9 times out of 10 he finds himself spinning with damage. But here we go, lap 5 of 28. This is the closest Wayne has been. Is he going to try something into the braking zone? He is. Up the inside, Aaron leaves the door open. He'll hang the car around the outside, and if he gets good exit, he'll have the inside for the final corner, which he will do. Wayne, I don't think will fight this. Lifts off just a little bit to allow Aaron back in, but that's the first sign then that Aaron has now had to start to defend as Lakitu gets very sideways coming out the final corner, and Wayne has got a better opportunity coming along the line then into lap 6 up the inside. This will be a nice move, and Aaron Collingwood finally lose that lead. Back up the inside though, a little bit of wheel bang in there, and Aaron's car's drifting slightly wide. That might give Lakitu an opportunity to catch up, and more wheel banging between Wayne and Aaron then. So Wayne really fighting for this lead, and Aaron does not want to give this up. But finally the Renault slots into position behind Alfa Romeo. Will he try a dual dive attempt into turn 4? He does. That's very late, very, very late. Wayne sees him late, leaves him the space, and Aaron did well there to avoid contact. But Wayne then has now finally taken the lead. And that'll be interesting to see if Aaron can stay with the Alfa Romeo driver or if he does start to drop back into the clutches. Oh, and Wayne's wide. Wayne's wide. He's lost it through the left and right, and he's given the lead right back to Aaron. What a present that is for the Renault driver. Wayne did everything right to try and get past into turn 1 and 2, and then just losing the back of the car coming through the right-hander in 7 and 8 has lost that lead back to Aaron. And Aaron yet again takes the lead, and Yanor is out of the race. What's happened here? There he is in the middle of a circuit. We'll just jump on board with Lickle, and then again with Dusty as well. Yanor, that is an unusual place to retire the car. Where is it? How has he lost it? There. So Yanor is the early retirement. Then we've got yellow flags in sector 2 and sector 3. I only can assume that Yanor has ran wide or something, spun the car to the inside, damaged the car, and it's spat the car back out into the middle of a circuit. So everyone further down the order just ducking and weaving, trying to get around that McLaren. And that's a disappointing end to what was looking like an average race so far for Yanor, up inside the top 10 as the rest of the field. Now we're starting to see some mistakes happen. Now we're starting to see drivers push a little bit more. Truesdale all of a sudden is up into P13, getting past Poe. And we've got Lambo's off the circuit, I think. Who was that? No, that was Lickle, was it? It was Lickle. So Lickle spun coming out of the final corner. He's damaged that front wing. He should be able to. Yes, I know he's driving backwards, but we'll let him off. Oh no, the game hasn't let him off. He tried to get back into the pits, but the game has disqualified him for driving the wrong way. Meanwhile, VSR Lambo, the second McLaren driver, is in the pits having a front wing change. Wow, so much action has happened in the last couple of minutes. But Aaron has retaken that lead, a gift from VSR Wayne, and Onyx now into third place as well. He's managed to get past Lakita, and all of that as well. Lickle has been disqualified from the session by driving the wrong way, trying to get back to the pits. ILR Yanor has crashed in the middle part of the lap as well, and Lickle has left the session. He was the host. Hopefully that gives us no issues from now on. VSR Lambo has made a pit stop and replaced that front wing. That's why he's down all the way in 18th place. But lap 7 of 28 then. Now we're starting to see some of these drivers push a little bit more as Gonanen and Poe battle over 13th and 14th. But Aaron is now starting to pull away. VSR Wayne in second has now got Onyx behind him. He won't try anything to the hairpin. Blizzard now into 5th place. Liam Yo hanging on as well into the background, as are both of the Mercedes. Meanwhile, what's going on back here? I think we're 3 wide possibly. Sterling West, Poe, Gonanen, and we've got Rafa involved in all that as well. So Rafa is now trying to move himself up through the field, getting past Gonanen. His next target will be Poe and Sterling West, unless either of them pit. They don't, they carry on. And Sterling West running wide through the final corner. That might give Poe an opportunity to try and move into turn 1. And what is going on up the front as well? Everyone's overtaking everyone else. We've got Blizzard, Lakitu, Wayne. Onyx is up into 2nd place. So Onyx and all of that has managed to get past Wayne. So the order is constantly changing. But Aaron still leads then. So everyone thought he'd lose it. He did, and then it's been gifted back to him by Wayne, who's now dropped back into 3rd place. Wommer just coming in fastest lap so far. We'll have a look. It is held by VSR Wayne, 35.422. That will change as the race goes on. Of course, fastest lap. If you finish in the top 10 and have the fastest lap, an extra World Championship point is yours. So Aaron still leads. VSR in second. VSR Onyx in second. Wayne in third. Look at the train of cars now. Yellow flag in sector 2. It's Me's had an issue. He's off the circuit backwards as well. He's lost it, I think, coming out of that double left-hander. And the mistakes are now starting to creep in for these guys. There's significant damage on the front left of that racing point, and he immediately retires from the session. We've lost 3 drivers in the last 3 laps as well. And I don't know whether it's the tyres that are starting to burn up, or these guys are now starting to battle just a little bit more, and they're starting to trip over each other. But Aaron won't care. He's carrying on, nearly a full second lead over Onyx, who's now up to second. Wayne is dropping back though. Lakitu is now the next one to try and put some challenging moves onto the Alfa Romeo. Blizzard up into 5th place as well. So 5th and 6th at the start for the Williams guys, but now running 2nd and 5th. Liam Yo still there in 6th place as well. The Mercedes drivers are changing positions. So Louis then, I think Louis now thinks it's time for him to make moves on these hard tyres. The mediums will start to be burning up a little bit. These are the qualifying sets for all these drivers in the top 10 used, and I think Louis is now starting to get a bit impatient. You can see his teammate may be struggling, and so he's managed to pass Speedy Barry, and he's now going to close up on Liam Yo as well this lap. Meanwhile, outside of the top 10, we've got Sparks, Francis McGee, Truesdale up into 11th, Poe 18 and Sterling West into battle, and they've both gone deep, and here comes Rafa on the outside coming into the long left hand. We won't be able to get through there, so both Truesdale and Rafa are now starting to make way through the field. Truesdale 2.5 seconds off a point, and it is held by his own teammate at the moment, and Rafa will be wanting to get past Poe 18. Oh, running wide there through the left-hander. Sterling West says thank you. A little bit of contact between the two of them as Rafa rejoins the circuit, so Rafa is not having everything his own way. The red mist descended during qualifying. He wasn't happy by it, and Blizzard's off the circuit. Blizzard's made a mistake, I think, in the long right hander. He's recovered to the circuit, but he's going to tumble down the order all the way into 11th place. Not sure if he's got damage on the front of that car. It's the worst camera angle for it. I think he just lost it a little bit coming through the long right hander. These medium tyres are certainly starting to give up a little bit, as we've got Liam Yo and Louis going into battle as well. I thought Louis would start to push moves now on these medium tyres as his teammate behind picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Liam Yo, middle of a circuit. This is going to be difficult for Louis into the inside. Oh, he spun it. He spun the car round. He won't be happy with that at all. And I think Speed Barry had to take avoiding action as well. And Liam Yo there, just middle of a circuit, made the line into turn one very acute, very tight for Louis. I don't think there was any contact, and Louis just slammed on the brakes. It's pitched the car into a spin, and now he's spun himself down into 9th place. And some of the big guys here making mistakes early on in this race, and that would not have done his hard tyres any good whatsoever. And all of a sudden Louis can now see Truesdale behind him. Truesdale up into 10th place. Francis McGee up into 8th. Sparks in all of this is now into 7th. He's all the way in 7th just by keeping out of trouble. And it was, as JPTV saying, it was an ambitious move. It was an ambitious move. You can see that Liam Yo was making no attempt whatsoever to give him the space, parking the car in the middle of a circuit, which is his right. He's the car in front, and it was his line into the corner. And Louis probably should have backed out, really, and bided his time around another part of this lap. But as the rest of the field filter through, Sparks in 7th, Francis McGee in 8th. I think he might have DRS ahead. Meanwhile, Onyx and Aaron Collingwood are going into battle. Onyx with the DRS, move up the inside, straight back in front of the Renault driver as well into the braking zone. And for the second time this race, Aaron gives up the lead. Now, for the second time this race, will the leader relinquish that immediately by making a mistake and giving the Renault driver back P1? I don't think Onyx will. He's got the 5 between his legs at the moment. He wants a positive result. We've got moves further back here as well. We've got Speed Barry and Francis McGee into the pits off of those medium tyres, promoting a whole host of drivers. Poe 18 and Blizzard as well also into the pits. And now we're starting to see the medium runners pit for those hard tyres. Meanwhile, Onyx and Aaron Collingwood will continue on their merry way. Wayne in 3rd place, coming under threat from the Ferrari of Lequito. 3rd and 4th, this is at the moment. Liam Yo a long way back in 5th. Sparks, his teammate for tonight, in 6th. And you can see there on the left hand side all of those drivers that have recently made a pit stop, all coming out onto the hard tyres. So we've still got Louis, Truesdale, Rafa and Dusty that started on the hard tyres. Truesdale, Rafa and Dusty were down the order. Louis was in P9. 6th and above all started, I believe, inside the top 10. Now Sparks, I think, started outside of it, but they're all on the medium tyres, so they'll be pitting in the next couple of laps. And we should see the positions change as well. Louis will certainly take the lead unless he decides to pit. And he's now caught back up to the rear of Sparks, bringing Truesdale along with him as well. Rafa now into 9th place in clean air, but 6 seconds back from Truesdale. That's how much time he's lost in the opening 11 laps, taking longer to fight through the slower cars compared to what Truesdale has done. So Sparks in 2.2 back. Louis might try something into the hairpin. Sparks feels the need to move that Red Bull out a little bit. That was the worst camera angle in the world. I don't need that, as Truesdale closes right up in the braking zone. Do any of the medium runners ahead pit? Looks like quite a few of them. Looks like pretty much all of them are going to be in. In fact, all 5 of them apart from Sparks. So Sparks is carrying on. He started outside the top 10, so he can push his medium tyres just a little bit further. We'll jump on board with Lequito. He's going on to the hard tyres, as is Liam Yo as well. Aaron Collingwood back out as well, as any of these guys managed to get the jump. Onyx just getting out ahead of Aaron Collingwood. Wayne, Lequito and Liam Yo, they all keep their positions compared to each other. But there we'll see Speed Barry. He will move up the order. How many people is he managed to going to get past? He's going to get past Liam Yo only. That's it then. So the undercut hasn't worked for Speed Barry. And Onyx will hold on to this net lead once everyone else ahead pits. Aaron Collingwood essentially in second place, VSR Wayne in third. But we await Sparks, who'll be making a pit stop probably at the end of this lap or next. And then we wait for the hard runners as well to make their pit stop in a couple of laps. So lap 12 of 28, we've lost 3 drivers already. ILRT Lickle tumbled down the order, spun at the final corner, hit the barrier and then tried to drive backwards into the pits, but the game disqualified him. ILRT Yanal lost it coming out of the double left-hander, spun into the inside, damaged his car beyond repair, and It's Me as well lost it at pretty much the same point. Still could have carried on, he only had heavy damage on the front wing, but he decided to call it a day as well. Sparks makes his pit stop then off of those medium tyres onto the hards, and Louis, Truesdale, Rafa and Dusty all move up. Onyx into 5th, Aaron into 6th as well. Speed Barry sets a new fastest lap, 34.768. The championship point is his as it stands at the moment. And Aaron Collingwood looking very feisty on these hard tyres, sticking with Onyx. Quite a few people surprised to see Aaron still competitive at the front of the field at the moment, and quite a few people are happy to see it as well, but he's putting all the pressure on that Williams driver at the moment. VSR Onyx does hold the net lead, but Louis was a few seconds back from them, and now he's in clear air with Truesdale following behind. So this is the go time now for Louis to push on these hard tyres, as it is for Truesdale as well. Rafa 8 seconds behind now, and so he's going to be falling behind all the guys that pitted onto the hards a few laps ago, but Louis and Truesdale can do something about it. They may be able to undercut 1 or 2 ahead of them, and then they'll be on the medium tyres, so they'll be on the quicker tyres all the way to the end of this race. So don't discount either of these two from a positive result tonight. Rafa and Dusty, I think, will be hoping for just a few points, as they're already starting to lose time to the cars behind. Aaron then half a second behind. He'll have DRS on Onyx. Can he close the gap coming into the braking zone for the hairpin? He's gaining a little bit. Gaining quite a lot, just coming into the braking zone, thinking about it. Oh, it was a late call there to decide if he was going to go for it or not. Decided not to. Locks up the front right as well. Wayne Lakitu and Speed Barry all keep their positions. Rafa into the pits then at the end of lap 13. That's slightly early off of those hard tyres. So he's going to have to try and make those mediums work as long as he can, unless he's going for a daring strategy on the soft tyres. But I don't think Rafa is going to be doing that. He is coming in for the medium tyres. You're going to have to do half this race on the mediums. It is doable. He's also, what's going on here? Is he serving a penalty? Is he having a front wing change? Are we getting to get a glitch when the car jumps ahead? Not too sure what happened there. I think he might have had a 5-second penalty for something. It might have popped up at the bottom of the screen. If it did, I missed it. But Rafa rejoins in 17th place. Not what our championship driver in second place would have wanted from this race so far. Louis and Truesdale continues to lead 1-2. Neither of them making their pit stop off of the hard tyres yet. And you can see Dusty now 10.5 seconds back. Onyx closing that gap by around about half a second a lap so far. Aaron sticking with the Williams driver, and he's bringing Wayne, Lakitu and Speed Barry into it. So this is your top 5, currently running 4th down to 8th. Liam Yo has dropped off, unfortunately, a couple of seconds because he was with them early on. Blizzard, we know, has dropped back as well after that spin. So it'll be interesting now to see when the top 3 pit. And Aaron is looking a lot closer to the back of Onyx this time, coming into the braking zone. He might try it this time. It's a late move. It's up the inside. We'll jump on board with the Williams driver, and Aaron retakes that position over the Williams. Aaron really putting up a really strong fight tonight. Started this race from pole position. He's led most of the laps, and he was retaken what will essentially be the lead of this race ahead of Onyx. But Onyx might come back at him into turn 1. Does Aaron feel the need to defend? He doesn't. Onyx just ducks out a little bit, making that Rocket Williams loom large in those Renault's rear view mirrors. And Aaron now has got the bit between the teeth. He's got 4 very quick guys behind him, although Lakitu has dropped back a little bit. I'm pretty sure that him and Speed Barry may have been trying to get past each other a few corners ago. But Aaron now has got his mirrors full of some very quick drivers. They're slowly catching up to Dusty as well, but I think Dusty will be in the pits before these guys catch. Meanwhile, Louis and Truesdale are close together, just half a second between them. I think Truesdale is quite happy at the moment to play follow the leader. Unless Louis makes a mistake, he'll go through, because the last thing you want to do, these two really don't need to be battling over each other. They know the position they're in. The longer they keep going, the better it's going to be for them on those medium tyres, because they'll have more life on those tyres with less laps to run. And Truesdale is going to try it then. Louis moves over to the right hand side, makes absolutely no attempt to defend the position, and Truesdale just weaves left to right there, just probably say thank you for not putting up too much of a fight. And Louis slots back into second place, runs a little deep into the hairpin, does the Toro Rosso drive, but no damage done, and both of them move on their merry way. Further back, are we going to see any moves coming into the hairpin from these guys? Speed very, very close to the back of Likitu, and in fact already passed with the DRS into the braking zone. So the Mercedes driver up to 7th place as Likitu gets his braking all wrong for the hairpin and loses any momentum to try and retake that position from the Mercedes in 7th. Lambo and Poeti overtake into the hairpin. And the McLaren moves up into 13th place. Difficult race for the McLaren team so far. One in 13th, the other one out of the race. Same for the Haas team as well. Gonanen is the only one still going. And Lambo, who made an early pit stop, back into the pits again. So points are probably not going to happen for McLaren tonight, unfortunately. I'm sure there'll be more races to come from them. ILRT Rafa sets a new fastest lap, and Lambo pulls in the pits to retire. He knows that he's not going to be competitive at all in this race unless there is a safety car, and he pulls into the pits to do the right thing, retire and immediately leave the session. So 4 drivers out, both of the McLarens. It's been a race to forget for both of those orange cars. Truesdale still leads half a second ahead of Louis. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. Someone's off. Oh, that'll be just Lambo's car rejoining the circuit. But it'll be ghosted, it'll pull over and it'll disappear from our screens. Lap 16 of 28. This might be the time now, I feel, where these two will be in the pits. I'm both quite happy to change positions, carry on. Truesdale there just moving over to the right a little bit. Now do either of these pit will jump on board with the Mercedes. I assume maybe one of them will. And they both do. So Truesdale and Louis now into the pits. This is crunch time for these two. Where will they rejoin in this race? Meanwhile, Onyx and Aaron Collingwood very, very close, and VSR Wayne is right in that battle. Speed Barry over a second behind, and Nikita has also dropped time as well. I'll be assuming that both of these guys going on to the medium tyres. Well, the Mercedes certainly is, and so is Truesdale in the Toro Rosso. NSX Dusty also pits. So Aaron retakes the lead of this race. Onyx up into 2nd, Wayne 3rd, Barry into 4th, Nikita into 5th, Liam Yo up into 6th. Truesdale comes out of the pits. Sparks has managed to get past them as well. So the medium runners of Truesdale and Louis are in 8th and 9th position. We'll have to keep an eye on these two because I think they're going to be motoring up through the field. Aaron retakes the net lead of this race then, but he's got 4 cars very close behind and another 2 a few positions back now on those medium tyres. So all the pressure in the world is now on Aaron's young shoulders to see if this reserve driver can pull off a major upset here, taking pole position at the middle part of the qualifying session and keeping hold of it due to the rain falling at the end. Most people thought he'd have an accident or fall away from the lead, but coming into the second half of this race, he's holding on to this lead, retaking it from Onyx as well. And that Williams driver can do nothing about getting past that Renault. He's got to be careful. Wayne is behind as well. We come yet again through the long right-hander on lap 17 of 28. He'll have DRS yet again, but I feel yet again he won't be able to get past. Aaron is positioning that car well. Here we go then. Finger on the button. Oh, a little bit of lag there from Aaron. Hopefully that calms down if these two get too close. And again, you can see they're not really gaining. He does it in the braking zone. Very late on the brakes is Onyx. And we've got moves further back as Truesdale up the inside, I think. Oh, we're 3 wide into the hairpin. And Sparks has done a very, very good job there. He had 1 car to the left and 1 car to the right. And immediately Truesdale and Louis start their fight back through the field. Further back, Rafa and Sterling West are fighting over what is a lowly 13th and 14th. And Rafa will want to put this result away. He won't want to come away from China with any sort of happy memories. His race was pretty much compromised by Truesdale blocking in qualifying. Lakitu and Liam Yo are battling over 5th and 6th. Truesdale and Louis, I think, will probably be right with them at the end of this lap, if not certainly the next. And they'll have to get past them and then close what will be a 2.5 second gap to the top 4. We saw the top 4 battling in Australia and again in Bahrain. And each time it's been different drivers. Aaron Collingwood and VSR Wayne are certainly showing the way at the moment, saying we are competitive at China and we want a positive result. And that Renault driver is doing everything right at the moment, holding on to that lead under some ferocious pressure from these 3 cars behind. But they all know that Truesdale and Louis pitted a couple of laps ago for the medium tyres. So they all know that Truesdale and Louis will be carving their way through the field. You can just see them in the background there, already up with Liam Yeo and Lakitu. So they need to get past the Red Bull of Liam Yeo and the Ferrari of Lakitu as quickly as possible, catch up to the top 4, and then we'll probably have the top 6 battling for the podiums and the race win with just a handful of laps to go. Onyx is trying it again, I think, into the hairpin. No, again, just a bit too far away to try something. And look at this, a top 4 within a second of each other. And Rafa and Par18 are battling over 12th place now. So Rafa is starting to move through the field as Dusty passes Sterling West, but the medium tyres will be what helping him. Is Onyx going to try something into turn 1? No, again, he's just not close enough. He's there, but just not there enough. And Louis sets a new fastest lap with a 33.8 something. And Lakitu, Liam Yeo, Truesdale, look at this. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. They're 3 wide coming through turn 2. Are any of these medium runners going to get an advantage over it? Truesdale was in the middle of it. Where's Louis in all this? He's been squeezed out. So Truesdale has managed to get past the Red Bull, and Louis is going to have to dive bomb into turn 4 to do the exact same thing. But don't snatch a break and cream into the back of Truesdale. He hasn't. So both of the medium runners past Liam Yeo. They'll be past Lakitu, I feel, in this lap as well. And then the charge for the top 4 against Speed Barry, Wayne, Onyx and Aaron Collingwood will begin. This race is not over. This is going to be, I feel, a 6-way fight for the Chinese Grand Prix. I couldn't even predict who's going to be on the podium, let alone who's going to win this race. As Big C says, going to be a grandstand finishes. Yep, I think it will be. Penalties may come into it. There hasn't been many. There's been a couple. Can't remember who has them. If anyone can remember, pop them in the chat. Why not? Just so we can remember, because if any of the top 6 or the projected top 6 at the end of this race have penalties, they will fall down the order. So here we go then. Truesdale with the DRS against Lakitu. Louis will try to follow through as well, as they both carve their way past the Ferrari driver. Lakitu could do nothing about it. Oh, just moving over there. Probably didn't realise Louis was behind him. A little bit of contact, and Louis will try to out-drag that Ferrari on the run to the final corner. Does so, has the inside line for the left-hander, and both of them, as I said, pass on this lap, and now the charge begins. And Onyx is retaking the lead. Missed it. Apologies. Onyx has retaken the lead. Busy watching that scrap for 5th, 6th and 7th. So Onyx has now retaken the lead. Can Aaron do anything about regaining that P1? Or is he now going to fall into the clutches of VSR Wayne, who's had a good exit through turn 2? Might try something through 3 into 4. Up the inside possibly, he's going for it. Aaron leaves the door open just a little bit. Oh, contact between them, more rubbing as well. And might bring Speed Barry into it. Oh no, Speed Barry's made a mistake. What's happened to Speed Barry? He's lost a lot of time and momentum coming through turn 4. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. Pro18 is out of the race. Has he crashed? Oh, Gonanan's retired as well. What's happened here? There's a car off to the right hand side, and I don't know where Gonanan is. So Pro18 has crashed. Gonanan has, I feel, quit. So it's all kicking off yet again on lap 20. Yellow flags in sector 3. Not sure what that's for. VSR Onyx is now absolutely disappearing. He's getting the hammer down, and Aaron Collingwood is now coming under pressure. He won't have the DRS off of Onyx, but Wayne will have the DRS behind, and Truesdale and Louis are now in DRS range of Speed Barry. He's lost time coming out of turn 4. I feel Aaron is going to be losing P2 here. Wayne is up the inside into the hairpin. And poor old Aaron has done everything right so far in this race, but eventually the time, talent and the pressure told, and Onyx has managed to fight his way through, and now Wayne has done the same. The reserve driver down into 3rd place, but he is protected for a little while because Speed Barry, for some unknown reason, is well off the pace here. And here comes Truesdale. Is he going to think and move into turn 1? He is. Speed Barry sees him, allows Toro Rosso through. He knows he's not going to be fighting, and absolutely jumps out of the way of his teammate as well. Speed Barry will stick with them and try to catch back up, but it's Onyx leading from Wayne, Aaron in 3rd, and now the Toro Rosso of Truesdale and the Mercedes of Louis can see the top 3 ahead of them. 21 of 28, 8 laps to go, including the one they're on. These medium tyres will start to fade away in the last couple of laps, but so will the hard tyres as well. At the moment, these two medium ones of Truesdale and Louis have got to do everything right. They've got to push, they've got to catch up, and once they do, which they will do, it's a matter of if, not when, they get past, because Aaron will not be giving up that third place easily. VSR Wayne is right on the charge of VSR Onyx, and these two, if they're scrapping over the lead, they don't want Truesdale and Louis getting involved in this. This is not over yet. Wayne will have the DRS, so will Aaron. Truesdale will have it as well, so finally the top 5, the top 6 now, all in DRS range. And I think Wayne might try something into the hairpin. He's going to. Onyx doesn't defend it. Jump on board with the Williams driver. Where is Wayne? There he is on the right hand side. They're almost side by side coming out of the hairpin. Onyx still has the inside for the final corner, gives it up though, and Wayne moves from third to first in 2 laps, so he's obviously the one with the bit of pace at the moment. Aaron bravely hanging on in third, but Truesdale is now right up with him, and you can see in the background Louis and Speedberry in 5th and 6th as well. Don't discount the likes of Liam Yo and Lakitu and Sparks as well, 7th, 8th and 9th. If these 6 start tripping over each other and forcing each other off the track and causing damage to each other, then these guys might find themselves picking up a couple of extra positions as Poe leaves the session. We've lost 6 drivers, both of the Haas, both of the McLarens and both of the Racing Points, all out of this race through accident damage or throwing in the towel. But we don't care about them. It's all about this absolute train of cars now, all fighting over the top positions. Wayne just 5 tenths ahead of Onyx, 5 tenths ahead of Aaron Collingwood, who's right ahead of Truesdale, and there is Louis, and Speedberry is hanging on bravely, but he's outside of DRS range, and Truesdale has a 3-second time penalty. People in the chat, make note of it, because that could be incredibly crucial at the end of this race. He will know it, and if anyone around him asks their engineer if anyone has penalties, they'll know it as well. So I don't think Onyx will try anything on Wayne into the hairpin. Aaron is too far back to try anything on Onyx, but I think Truesdale has a good opportunity here to try a move on the Renault driver up the inside into the hairpin. This will be for 3rd position. Onyx just ducking and weaving around, and Aaron now demoted all the way down to 4th. Truesdale just moves over to the right hand side. They're just blocking off a potential run from the Renault driver back at him into the final corner, and Aaron now pushed down into 4th place. We might start seeing some more ETL penalties come in from these guys, as you can see all 6 coming across the line. And Louis now trying it into turn 1. Aaron doesn't give the space, and Louis almost got chopped off there coming into turn 2. He's going to try again. Aaron not giving the space. You can see there moving very late out of his way. He didn't need to move, to be honest with you, and Aaron is doing everything he can to try and hold on to a high placing here. Truesdale up ahead. Now the bit between the teeth. Got VSR Onyx and VSR Wayne ahead. Wayne has not disappeared, so Onyx has been carried along quite nicely with that DRS, and Truesdale now with him as well. Aaron dropping back because he's busy defending from Louis, and Speedberry is now starting to chip that gap away as well. So Louis should be getting past Aaron into the hairpin, and I think Truesdale might try something on Onyx as well at the same place in a few seconds time. Lap 23 of 28, yet again, 3rd race in a row. We have a handful of cars neck and neck fighting over the podium and the race win. It's too close to call, but Truesdale has a 3-second penalty. I think Onyx has one as well. I could be wrong. But Wayne is too far ahead now. He won't be under threat coming into the hairpin. But here we go, Truesdale. He'll have the DRS, as will Onyx. I feel that Truesdale up the inside then. Misses a move for 2nd place for the Toro Rosso driver. Onyx doesn't put up too much of a fight, and the Toro Rosso driver Truesdale is through into 2nd, and now he can set his sights on catching and passing Wayne and then pulling away. He needs a 3-second gap over everyone else behind if he's going to hold on to this race win. Further back, Aaron still bravely hanging on to 4th place, but Louis is there all the time trying to force a way through. Speedberry is now with him. They've dropped 7th down, so I thought they might catch up, but they're not going to. And Louis, they're able to take a more tighter line on those medium tyres through turn 1. He might be able to get a tighter line through 2 and 3 as well. Try something into turn 4, but a good exit from Aaron in that Renault, which means he won't need to defend the inside. No moves from the top 3 up ahead yet either. You jump on board with Speed Barry, we'll be hoping and praying that some of these guys trip over each other. We'll move away very, very quickly, see what's going on behind. Liam Yo and Sparks, 7th and 8th for Red Bull. Good points for that team. Lakitu, he started on the front row, down in 9th place, being a race to forget for him. Francis McGee holding on to that final point. ILRT Rafa still bravely fighting on those medium tyres, but he's in 11th place and outside of the points. Blizzard as well, that spin in the early part of the race has set him back. He's not in the points in 12th. Dusty as well, probably running a default setup after joining during qualifying, running with soft tyres apparently on my screen, and Sterling West a long way behind as well. But we're back to the leaders, lap 24 of 28. This could be Truesdale's first opportunity to try and get past Wayne for the lead. The rest of the field is quite spread out. Something's happened because Louis is a couple of seconds off Aaron Collingwood, but nevertheless Truesdale does make that move up the inside into the hairpin. It's been the favourable overtaking spot for all of these drivers tonight, and now Truesdale has 4 laps to pull out 3-second gap and keep hold of this race win. Wayne in second, Onyx in third, Aaron still bravely hanging on in fourth. Something has happened to Louis because he was right with Aaron and now he's 2.5 seconds back. And he's got his teammate Speed Barry behind him as well. So the Mercedes together in 5th and 6th. They might have to work together to catch back up to the top 4. But all the attention is now on Truesdale. Can he find that 3 seconds he needs to hold on to this race win? Aaron as well, hoping and praying that something happens ahead to get himself on the podium. He'll feel like he deserves a podium tonight. I think quite a few people doubted his ability to hold on to a higher placing here. But he has done. He's lost out the lead to Truesdale, Wayne and Onyx. But with the pole position, and he battled hard early on, but he's still there in fourth, still has an opportunity for a podium position as Louis behind now starts to reclose that gap to Aaron. Nothing else really changing behind. We know Speed Barry is close to his teammate. We know Lakitu is doing a second of Sparks in that battle for 7th, 8th and 9th between the two Red Bulls. Rafa picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that all but might have killed his opportunity to pick up points tonight. So if any of them joining right now or just wondering what happened with Rafa, why he's so far down, he got blocked by Truesdale coming into the final corner on their real one and only qualifying attempt. A bad block it was as well. I'm sure it will go to the ILR stewards, and Truesdale will probably pick up a penalty of some sort. So Truesdale had to start down. I think it was in 16th place. Rafa was down in 18th or 19th. And Truesdale made the moves early on. Rafa failed to. And now Rafa has a 3-second time penalty, which means he almost certainly will not be picking up points. As for penalties, Truesdale, we know he has 3. I think Onyx has 3. Personally, I'm not too sure. NX Dusty has 3, but he's down in 13th. It changes now. And Aaron has none. I know that much. So Truesdale doing everything right in the moment. Lap 26 of 28. He needs a 3-second gap over VSR Wayne. And Onyx still applying the pressure as much as he can onto the Alfa Romeo driver. Aaron hanging on in 4th, and Louis is slowly catching back up. But I think he's had a half spin somewhere a couple of laps ago. That's why he fell off the back of that Renault. And Speed Barry also falling behind his teammate as well. So some gaps are now starting to emerge with the guys. The real battle, it seems, is between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. I'll count Aaron in that as well. And Wayne will probably know that Truesdale has a penalty. And he'll be doing everything he can to keep pushing in these last couple of laps. We know Truesdale will be absolutely leaving no edge or quarter. He has to go for it. He knows what he has to do if he is going to take down his 2nd win of the season. He was gifted the first win at Bahrain, finished 2nd on track behind Onyx, but Onyx had a 3-second time penalty. So maybe the roles will be reversed now, and Truesdale will lose this race win due to a 3-second time penalty. But the gap is still around 1.5 seconds with just 2 laps left to run here. Onyx is dropping back, as is Aaron now. And Louis is creeping back up. He's almost in DRS range, just 2 laps to go here. Lap 27 of 28. And all eyes now really on the front. It's calmed down a little bit. It would have been nice to see these 6 together, but Speed Barry just hasn't had the ultimate pace of the guys ahead of him tonight. That's just why he hasn't really closed up as much in his hard tyre 16 laps completed. They'll certainly be struggling now. ILRT Louis as well. He's obviously made a mistake a few laps ago, which is why he's now clawing back to these guys. Aaron is now starting to drop off. You can see he's over a second away from Onyx, so he's not going to be getting the DRS anymore, which he so crucially needs to try and hold off Louis. And Onyx and Wayne still carrying on, and Truesdale is not pulling away at the rate he needs to. It's only 3 tenths so far on this lap. Yeah, it needs to be well over 2 seconds going into the final lap, and it's nowhere near at the moment. Everyone else further down. Lakitu is still quite close to Sparks. Dusty and Blizzard is very close to Rafa, who's only a second behind Francis McGee as well. So we'll have a quick look at those guys, just see what's going on as we come off them. You can see them all in the background there. Sparks, the reserve driver, a good performance tonight. But we only have 14 drivers left. We've lost 6 of them due to other related incidents throughout this race. Francis McGee holding on to that final point. Just ahead of Rafa, who has a 3-second time penalty. Dusty, and Blizzard spun. Blizzard spun yet again, the second time this race that he has spun at that point. And I think he's now retiring from the session. So it's a high attrition rate tonight. And our defending ILR1 champion Blizzard, who dominated last season, winning 9 of the 11 events in that shortened season, is having a real horrible time of it so far this time around in season 6. And he's got to go away and really think about what he's doing, and think about if he's got to approach this season any different, because we haven't seen the outstanding performances that Blizzard is accustomed to. But we won't worry about the Williams driver for now. We'll focus on Truesdale. 2.1 seconds. It's the final lap. VSR Wayne is doing everything right so far, maintaining that 3-second gap. Onyx in third. Aaron has now fallen back in fourth, and now does have Louis, who will potentially put a move on into the hairpin at the end of this lap as well. And Aaron has done a very good job here with all things considered. Pole position in a shortened qualifying session due to the rain towards the end. And he held on to the lead for the first few laps, didn't crash, didn't have too many incidents, regained the lead at one point as well when Wayne fell off the circuit. And I'm sure that Louis will try something into the hairpin as well. We'll look back at Truesdale. The gap is not there. It's really not there unless Wayne and Onyx trip over each other going into the hairpin, which I don't think they will. As in the background, Aaron moves over to the right to try and break the toe from Louis, but it's not going to work. Louis will pass him into the hairpin for 4th place. And unless Wayne and Onyx make a big mistake here at the hairpin or the final corner, I think Truesdale is going to lose this on penalties. Louis and Aaron still fighting over 4th position. Aaron, I think, will keep it, but it's Truesdale out of the final corner to take the checkered flag, but I don't think he'll keep it. Here comes Wayne. Wayne does take it. Onyx stays in 3rd position. Aaron across the line. Well done for him in 4th position. Louis in 5th. Speed Barry in 6th, who has penalties, so Liam Yo is promoted to 6th ahead of Sparks, Lakitu and Francis McGee. Takes down the final points position. ILRT Rafa in 11th and outside of the points. Dusty in 12th. Both of those had penalties. And we wait Sterling West to cross the line. Congratulations to VSR Wayne. He kept it clean. No penalties. Takes down his first win of the season. Truesdale has happened to him what was gifted to him last week at Bahrain. Finishing the race in 1st and being classified in 2nd due to a penalty. And VSR Onyx, hats off to him. He's been flirting with a podium in the first 2 races, but finally gets himself up there in 3rd place. And Aaron Collingwood as well, 4th place for him. A great result for the reserve driver. Many thought he'd throw it away, but he stuck to it. Unlucky to not be on the podium, but I think a 4th place finish will do his confidence a wonder of good, as finally Sterling West crosses the line in a lowly 13th place. So congratulations to the top 3. I'm sure Truesdale will be a little bit disappointed, but he'll know that he probably has a penalty pending as well. And if he does join me for the podium interviews, I will be asking about what happened in qualifying. But his main title challenger, Rafa, failed to score points here. So I think all in all, he'll be happy with how the race went at least. But it's VSR Wayne that takes down his first win of the season, joined on the podium by Truesdale on the left and Onyx on the right for Williams. So the final classification, you can see there Truesdale's 3-second penalty has demoted him to 2nd place. ILRT Louis, I believe, had the fastest lap of the race. I will check in a few seconds. But Onyx in 3rd, Aaron in 4th place, Louis, Liam Yo 5th and 6th. Speed Barry, a 3-second time penalty pushes him down to 7th. Sparks, Lakitu and Francis McGee picks up the final point. Outside of it, Rafa, very disappointing race from the Alfa Romeo driver. NSX Dusty and Sterling West complete the order. We lost Blizzard in the final lap. And at various stages, Po 18, Gonanon, Lambo, It's Me, ILRT Yanal and ILRT Lickle. So do stay tuned and I'll get the top 3 in for the podium interviews shortly. So both Truesdale and VSR Onyx have joined me for the podium interviews. No sign of VSR Wayne yet. I'm just going to wait a few more seconds to see if he joins or not. But in the meantime, if both of you can double check your party settings to make sure you've allowed your voice to be shared. Last week, Truesdale, you didn't, so there were some silences on stream. So can you make sure you double check your settings as well? Okay then, well, no sign of VSR Wayne. If he does join in at some point, obviously we'll ask him some questions. So we'll come to you then, Truesdale, second place. You won the race, but the 3-second time penalty, you tried your best in the last few laps to try and eke out that gap to hold on to the race win. But I don't want to talk about the race right now. I want to move back into qualifying, and you can probably know where I'm coming from with this. We was on board with Rafa, who was on a hot lap. Came out of a hairpin close behind you into the final corner, and then it looked like you just suddenly braked just before the braking zone, which forced both of you to make contact, completely compromised your qualifying laps, which forced both of you to start towards the back of the field without setting competitive time because of the rain at the end of the session. So I just want your take on it. What exactly happened there at the final corner?
Oh, he was on a hot lap. I was quite surprised about that. The thing is, someone was in front of me and someone was behind me. The car behind me was on a cooldown lap, I think. And I think Rafa, he was on a hot lap and he was closing in quite quickly. And my focus was on the car ahead, who started the lap, and he broke quite drastically. And yeah, then I had to brake as well, and I didn't see him from behind. My focus was just on the car ahead, because I nearly hit him as well. And the thing is, if the car ahead would have accelerated normally, everything would have been fine. But yeah, I was quite shocked as well. I was really surprised, and it's really unfortunate for both of us. And I'm really sorry I couldn't see him. My focus was on the car ahead in order not to hit him. And yeah, I have to see what happened. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, sorry if I messed up his qualifying.
So it's a simple case of you were just focusing on the car in front of you too much to not realise there was another car closing in behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, we'll move on then from qualifying. I'm sure a report will be put into the ILR stewards, and whatever they do with it, I'm sure we'll find out in the next couple of days. But moving away from qualifying into the race, obviously, because of that incident, you started right down the order, 16th, 17th, something like that. So was it quite fun in the opening laps, carving your way through the field? Because you knew that you would. We know that you're not the kind of guy in this lobby to be the 16th or 17th quickest guy. So was it quite fun making the moves early on, moving up the order? But was there a bit of risk for reward as well? You had to be careful putting the overtakes on because you were fighting, obviously slower guys and unpredictable guys as well, not too sure what they're going to do. So was it a guessing game with each move you were doing? Was it a case of just send it up the inside for each one and force them to get out of your way?
It was actually really dangerous at any point of the race. I nearly lost my wing multiple times, and yeah, there was a lot of lag. One car, for example, I drove behind him and suddenly he ghosted, and then he just flew off the track, and I didn't know what really happened. He just ghosted, and I drove right into his back, and there was a lot of fighting everywhere. It was very, very, very close. Knowing the right lines and where to overtake and where not was really crucial. Engine temps was also a really important thing. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, but it was very risky. And yeah, it was just like last week. It was very lucky that I came up in one piece and had no damage the whole race.
And final question from me then before we move on to Onyx to wrap this up. You have retained your lead in the championship. Rafa, who was in second place, obviously failed to score tonight as well. So are you already now starting to think about a championship run? Do you consider yourself maybe the favourite for the title? Or because it's so early still in this season, we still have, I think, 17, 18 races left to go. Are you just leaving nothing to chance and just going into each race as it comes? And if you keep winning and keep being on the podium, then, maybe you'll start thinking about, the championship further down the line.
I think it's very early to say. The whole field is very close together. There are a lot of really fast guys, and yeah, it's quite unfortunate for Lewis, for example. I have to be honest, he was quicker in quali and probably in the race as well. It was very unfortunate. I didn't know what really happened to him, but he was very, very, very quick. I think the others would admit that. But looking at the race today, it was very chaotic, just like last week, and with so chaotic races, it's really difficult to predict what will happen in the future.
Yeah, there's certainly a good 7 or 8 drivers out there that can, consistently perform at the very front of the field with each passing week. Next week, though, it's a completely different type of a circuit at the Baku City Street Circuit, which of course has its very long straight at the start and finish of the lap. But it's the first street circuit, real proper street circuit that we're going to be at this season. Some drivers love it, some absolutely detest the circuit. So where do you stand on Baku, and are you going to be going away to do quite a lot of practice leading up to the event next week?
Well, it's quite a difficult track. In the past, I've been quite decent there, but yeah, it might be a chaotic race as well because overtaking is very easy there, and yeah, it will be probably a chaotic race as well. And in general, I quite enjoy the track.
Well, hopefully you'll put in a good performance next week, and we'll see you on the podium yet again. But for now, thank you for joining me for the podium interviews.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. VSR Wayne has still yet to join, so we just got one more driver to talk to then. VSR Onyx, who finally, I say finally, it's only the third race of the season, but finally gets himself on the podium. Onyx, he was so close in Australia, late contact with Rafa dropped you down the order, and then winning the race in Bahrain, but that 3-second penalty demoted you all the way to down into fourth. Here though, you've crossed the line in third and keep that third place. First and foremost, you must be absolutely delighted to finally get your first podium of the season.
Yeah, I didn't expect it this week because my pace wasn't very good in practice, but yeah, out of nowhere I had good race pace on mediums. Wasn't first before the pit stops, but my hard pace was not really good, so I dropped back to P3, and yeah, I'm happy with the podium.
Yeah, you and VSR Wayne were very close pretty much all the way through that race, and good battles with the reserve driver Aaron Collingwood as well. Are you a bit disappointed to not take down a higher position? Do you think the race win might have been on for you today if you'd done a bit more practice and maybe made a few little tweaks to your setup? Or do you think, a third place result for you tonight, you sort of overachieved in your predictions coming into tonight's race?
It could have been a win, but I had not the pace I wanted to have at the start of the hard stint. Drop back a few positions and get back into P1.
It's quite clear already, 3 races down, who the quick drivers seem to be and the consistent drivers seem to be, and you're certainly one of them. Are you now going to sort of use this finally a podium position as sort of a springboard for the next few races to try and remain in the top 3 for the next few races, or can you see a couple of races like Baku and Spain coming up where you might struggle a little bit?
Yeah, I hope to be in the fight again, but I struggled a little bit in Spain, but Baku seems to be a good track for me. And after Monaco, I like all the tracks, so I hope I can be in the fight for the championship.
And obviously, with you being, running at the very front of the field for all the first 3 races of the season, are you enjoying these battles that you're having with the likes of Truesdale, Wayne, Louis, Rafa as well? Because it seems to be you guys seem to be at the top of the field for each race. And you guys are obviously circulating very close together. We've seen how close it's been with 3, 4, 5, 6 cars at the end of all 3 races. Is that quite enjoyable for you? Are you sort of in some of these races now gearing yourself up for the final few laps, making yourself available there at the end to maybe push for an extra position or 2?
Yeah, it's really enjoyable battling these guys. Yeah, it's really intense, especially the last few laps. But yeah, it's all going well. Except from the contact with Rafa in Australia, but yeah, I'm really enjoying the season so far.
Well, we're certainly enjoying watching your racing, and I've enjoyed finally getting you onto the podium as well. So congratulations on the 3rd place, and thank you for joining me for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is therefore the podium interviews all over and done with. VSR Wayne didn't join, unfortunately, so it was a shame we couldn't get the race winner's immediate thoughts after this race, but I'm sure we'll be able to talk to him at other points during the season. Thank you very much to everyone that has dropped in and out of the stream. Plenty of comments up there as well. So hopefully you guys are enjoying ILR1 this season with myself as your commentator. I'm certainly enjoying it, getting more comfortable, getting to know these drivers with each passing race, and I'm sure we're going to be in for some more excitement next week at the very tricky but very fast Baku City Street Circuit. My name is Alex. Thank you very much for watching tonight, and I'll see you at 5 o'clock next week.